there. On the air with Sully, Little Tommy, and Rusty Nailz. So excited. Here we are again. Radio for TV.
Oh, is it? Hey, speaking of that music right there,
Yeah.
I just found out for the very first time the other day that that's your band.
That is my band.
And that's you singing.
That's me. Get up and dance, Russ. That's it.
I didn't realize
Yeah, that is my band.
I didn't realize you had that much soul in you. I didn't realize you were that great.
Really? I didn't know what you're talking about, man. Sully band is I don't talk about it much on the air.
You know, I
want to keep it separate.
I knew you had a band. I knew you played a lot of gigs. But
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, we do. We play. In fact, I will tout our band for a moment because we just got nominated for Best Live Performer for the Standing Up Music Awards.
Awesome.
You like
What?
that?
Awesome.
I'm sorry, Russ, I can't hear you. I don't know, but you can go to sullyband.com. I honestly, Tommy will tell you, and so will Russ, I don't really promote that on the air, but I thought I would sneak in our rejoiner music and bumper music.
I remember we used to go to a couple parties together like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know you played.
Oh, yeah, I don't. It's for some reason, I'll tell you why. At this age, when you talk about being in a band, what you think about is Old Guys Rule t-shirts,
right,
cargo shorts, and Jimmy Buffett songs. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Russ's music. It's what he likes to call hammock rock.
So happy I'm here. So happy I'm
But honestly, that's why I don't talk about it. Because how do you say to somebody, or they say, you know, you're on the radio or television or whatever. How do you say, oh, you're in a band? And then what do I say? Do I say, well, how do you say that? How do you say, yeah, I got a band? I don't even know how to say that. So I just
got
don't
a
say
band.
it all. I let somebody else. Yeah, but when you say I got a band, it does evoke pictures of guys, which is fantastic. This band is not that band, though. Yeah. So I don't even know how to do it. So
and I don't have a band, by the way.
Yes, you do.
I play with a drummer.
You used to have it. Isn't it
That's
interesting?
all you need.
But
because what happens is when I play music, I don't want to play like the guy's playing. I want to play my own version because I utilize parody songs in my stand-up and all that stuff. So I'm constantly switching notes and lyrics and songs. And if you got another keyboard player with you or another guitar player or a horn player, they all have to be on the same page, and I don't have a page, so I can't.
But you're actually very good. I mean, it's funny. I remember when you started.
Yeah.
And I would ask, why are you singing instead of doing stand-up? And then you said, well,
I can use other people's material. No, well, you can't with music if I do covers. I mean, with comedy, you got to do your own.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot you play too.
Yeah, I play guitar.
Well, so do you, though.
Sing it up.
Yeah, I do. But I am one of those guys you're talking about. I'm the one that used to have a garage band when I was 16. And,
Right.
And now
did you ever bring
What
a
instrument?
guitar?
You did guitar. Was it bass, guitar?
I am the best rhythm guitar player in Chula Vista, California.
Wow.
At any one time when you're playing. Can I ask, did you ever bring guitar into Jeff and Jer? And did you ever bring guitar into the 91X show?
No.
Never?
No, I wasn't playing.
Was that ever done? Did
At
you?
parties, we used to play Jumpin' Jack Flash and Boom Boom Out Go the Lights.
But when you were on the air, did you ever bring it in?
I played for Peter Frampton. It was
What?
named.
Wow.
Yeah, we had Peter Frampton on the radio, and it was Name That Frampton Tune.
Do you feel like I do?
So I played
Oh, yeah,
Frampton.
we did a little of that, too, but I was so bad.
One time.
Plus, Depeche Mode, because 91X was that kind of music. How do you play Depeche Mode on a 6-string acoustic? That stuff to do.
It was funny. They wrote some of that music on there. I will tell you, only twice I was on FM radio. One time I was on for 1 week on 101.5 KGB for Co Lewis, who, by the way, taught me how to use the board. 20 some odd years ago.
I love Co.
Yeah.
The other thing is I did a stint on 103.7 The Planet.
I remember.
Oh, I remember that.
Woody and Sully in the morning.
I thought it was a Disney show.
You know, when you're an AM talk radio guy, the worst thing you could experience is being an FM guy from it because AM, turn on the mic and you start talking for an hour.
Right.
FM, you have like this much time. But I remember one time we did a bit and I actually pulled the guitar. It's the only time I've actually taken a guitar out on the set. But Russ plays often when we do Big Biz Show, the national radio show. Often.
Yeah,
And it sounds good. It works out. Hey, very big show today. Very excited to have Lauren Phinney from KUSI. Mark Mathis.
Hey, Mark Mathis. Wait, where's my glasses?
And then
That's
Frankie Vizzle.
That's
From
what Mark
Channel
Mathis looks like on a
933.
sunny day.
A huge show coming up. And I can't wait. Do you think Frankie would play some of my stuff on his... Is he allowed to? Are you allowed to play stuff like that?
This?
Talk right now. Look at these things.
I'm thinking no right off the bat. No way.
Thanks a lot.
Look at those
All right.
legs.
On the air.
I'm Mark Mathis.
Rusty, Tommy, Sully.
Hi, Mark Mathis, KUSI Weather. Here with Sully and Little Tommy on their new show. I'm going to take a look at weather throughout the... oh, and Rusty Nailz, he's in here. I just forgot about him. Because he's forgettable. Oh, my God. Lauren Phinney's not forgettable, and she'll be here. You know, she should be in my band. I play guitar. Mark Mathis, guitar player. Lauren Phinney, drums? I'm just thinking. Anyway, KUSI continues. San Diego today be 75 right up here at Rancho.
Hey.
Great to have that. How did you do show prep on 91X? Did you do show prep?
Yeah. You know, you read the headlines, you do a couple of those joke bits that get how they get? Oh, they faxed it to us.
Yeah,
back then.
They really
like a
they shoveled it in.
Yeah, it was
That's
fun.
exactly
But they're regional. That was the cool thing about radio back then. It was so competitive that you could only buy joke writing service in one market. So I would only get jokes for my show. And well, they still do, but I'm not doing radio anymore.
I want to ask Frankie V about that. Frankie Vizzle from Channel 93 is going to be with us today. Also, Mark Mathis.
Hey.
But right now, little Tommy is in the green room with Lauren Phinney, who we are huge fans of. And it's great to see her there. Little Tommy, what's going on in there?
You know what? I'm with all three right there. The hardest working man in radio, Frankie V. Next to Frankie V is the hardest working woman on the air, Lauren Phinney. And right here is Mr. Mark Mathis, the hardest working person in San Diego. Mark, I can't wait to have you on the air.
Thank you, little Tommy. It's an honor to be with you.
You're going to be coming up in a few seconds. Frankie V, you're going to be the last guest. But Miss Phinney.
Ladies first.
Yes, ladies first.
Let's bring her in.
May I escort you into the room?
Yes, you may.
Come on, let's go.
You know what I'm most surprised by? That's Mark Mathis' real voice. I thought you were doing.
No, he's so good, there's got to be two of him.
That's right. And here, oh my goodness gracious.
Look at she is.
Usually every
My
morning.
favorite anchor.
Please do.
Sitting right there.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Lauren Phinney.
Rusty Nailz.
Lauren Phinney.
How are you?
Wow, the best part about KUSI is you.
Can I ask you this?
Sweet.
Is it-
I'll pay you later.
I wrote
Is
that.
it? I'll pay you later. Is it weird to be on the question answering side versus the question asking side?
It's absolutely terrifying.
No, I don't buy that for 1 second. Have you ever been interviewed as a personality? I'm sure magazines have interviewed you.
Yeah, it's okay.
I do want to say this about this young woman right here, Lauren Phinney. For the last couple of months, I've been able to work with her on Good Morning San Diego, and I've watched her. She truly is, in my opinion, the best in San Diego. And I'm amazed. I'm very amazed.
I agree.
I'm very amazed at her interviewing style. When she interviews someone, you know, you would think she's going to ask basic questions, but she digs deep. She must do homework at night when she studies for your guests. Is that right, Miss Phinney?
I do homework.
I will tell you from being on that side, from being on that side of the interview, I can tell you because and Paul Rudy's no slouch. Paul Rudy does a lot of research because I know he asked me questions I'm not expecting.
He's good.
But there may have been past people on different networks and such that don't, and they're just asking the obvious stuff. I will tell you, I get a little jacked up when I have to go on a hit with you. When you're on the other side of the fence because I can't just mess my way.
With a smile.
But I know. But I can't just mess my way through it. I can't myth my way through that stuff. I have to have my stuff figured out.
And not with Paul either. I mean, I think we try to really ask the questions that people want to know. But we're coming up on a year. Can you believe it?
Together, really?
Of
With Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of Paul coming over to the news side of things. And I think we've made a newsman out of him yet.
He's done a fantastic job.
Really good job.
I-
And the two of you
I
have
love him.
definitely have a relationship
Yeah.
that's just great.
Yeah,
can
you
tell.
get that feel good, and you have all. I can tell you, my parents. I will just tell you this. My dad's 91. My mom's 80. I don't even know what I should say.
Six.
And they put up with us in
And
the morning.
you know, Bob, I just love that Lauren Phinney and Rudy. No, they honestly, they look at you. Guys. If I ever introduce you to them, it'll be a huge day in their lives
Well,
because
we
they're
need to make
huge
that
fans.
happen.
They're huge fans.
Have
of
them
the
come
show.
in and watch their son do a Wall Street.
I have a
segment.
question.
Okay.
So, how did it all start? Where did you
did it
grow
all
up? When did you get
start?
into television?
Oh, obnoxiously early, I told my parents I was going to do this. I would watch, I would watch news with them in the evening as a kid, and I just started imitating them. And
Sure.
I
Who was the
take
first
little microphone.
person that you imitated?
Was it Walter Cronkite? Because that would just suck.
Where'd you grow up?
So you just did
No, I
Nixon.
grew up
Or
in
whatever.
Simi Valley, Ventura County, you
Yeah.
know, not too far north of here. Probably Barbara Walters.
Okay.
'cause
How young are we talking here? Like
7.
What?
I'm on record at 7 saying this is what I was going to do. That's pretty creepy.
Did you
right?
really know, like in high school and stuff, that this is you
Yeah,
knew
in
you wanted to be on
fact,
TV? Was it news?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, because some people are like, I want to be on TV, I want to be an actress or movie star.
No,
I
no.
see,
Like
yeah.
I asked for a pinstripe suit as a kid.
Oh, to look like a
I
little
wanted,
business
I
lady.
wanted the pantsuit. I wanted to be like that.
So that was the lane you were
I
heading
wanted,
in.
yeah.
So
and
there is a coincidence between us. That's weird.
we both like pantsuits.
I know, weirdest thing.
But you were pink so much better than I
thank
do,
you,
Rusty.
yes.
But no, in high school, during all the PSAT training, you had to fill out what you wanted to do. I had an opportunity to compete. To go to Washington, D.C. and be a high school correspondent. And
Yeah.
I won a position that only 500 kids across the country got to do. I got to interview my local representative. And
Which was
I
who?
had it was Elton Gallagly at the time, but I had,
Elton Glegley, he owes me money.
but I had an opportunity to really get the taste of politics and how news can cover what's going on in your area politically. It was exciting.
When you were not at the desk, and you were a reporter,
Yeah.
are you still? We still call you a reporter? Is that because I don't want to? I mean,
You're an anchor when you work at the desk. You're
What
a
did you
reporter,
enjoy
yeah.
more? Did you enjoy? Because you were out there, you know,
don't
with,
say it or
you
you
were
might be
there
out of
with
a
the.
gig.
Well, I've seen you out in the street with
I
a
like
slicker.
my job. Please don't
That's
change
right,
it.
right.
There's different things that you like about each. What's great about the morning show is that one of the things I enjoyed about being a reporter was getting out in the community and meeting people and meeting your movers and shakers and hearing the stories of the underrepresented. But now on the morning show, they come to us.
Right.
We're
They
constantly
deliver.
having guests in
Like
the
the Uber
studio,
of
so
guests.
I still feel like I'm in touch with guests. But
How did you get to San Diego? Like, take us through your career.
it went.
Oh, it zigzagged a little.
I started my first job out of college was in Montana. And,
Right.
and then I just kind of zigzagged from there. I worked in Washington, D.C., Florida. I was in a couple different markets in Florida, and then decided I was desperately trying to come back to California.
Do you know what I want to know? I've always wanted to know, because I've heard that story before, where people are zigzagging across the country.
Yeah.
How did they find you? So you're in Montana. You auditioned
have
for a
a-
job.
Sending out tapes.
Yeah, you have agents. You make a reel. You send it out to whoever's willing to look at it. Sometimes beg people to look at it, and there you go.
Like Tommy did on this show.
Hey, wait a minute. Montana.
Montana.
I can't see you in Montana.
Good morning,
That's
Nailz.
what my parents said too.
Yeah.
They're like, she'll be back when the first
Right.
snow hits.
But how was it? How was it being in that snow?
It was awful. It was Here's what I was a morning anchor in one of my markets, and I remember this is so bad. Please, I didn't know how bad it was at the time, but I'd wake up, my alarm would go off at 2:30. I'd go out to my car, turn on the car, then I'd go back inside, take a shower.
Wow.
Wait a
Do
minute.
my-
Did you say
do my-
2:30?
Yeah.
Is that the norm now still?
I get up about 3:30 now.
For TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, radio used to get up at 4, get on the air at
4:42.
with a baseball
Still
hat
do.
and glasses and get on.
I've shortened my lifespan significantly.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
Lauren
Sleep when I'm
Phinney,
dead.
Lauren Phinney, our guest here, of course, you see her every morning on Good Morning San Diego. And I will tell you, being an interviewer myself over the years, it's tough to keep up with folks that are on the air, especially when there's things like measures and politicians
Oh,
and
boy.
districts. How do you do that? Because I still don't do that.
Like
on
Tommy
radio, I
said,
can tell you.
I got to do my homework.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but there's a lot of homework, though.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to keep them all. I mean, for example,
Keep them all straight in your head.
when you see the election cycle come up, is there a first thing that you do to make sure you're on top of that, or is it a 24/7 thing? You're always prepping, or do you have to have specific prep time?
You know, when kids and a lot of high school students, college students will ask me questions about this job, will talk to me about it. Generally, I ask them what they know about politics now or what they're into.
Right.
I just think first and foremost, you have to be a news junkie. I mean, even when I'm off,
Lauren
I love
Phinney.
this stuff.
News junkie.
News junkie.
Pinstripe.
All right,
Okay.
you're gonna
Coming to
see you're gonna see more of Lauren coming up later in the program when we do our Best of San Diego segment. And coming up, Mark Mathis, and it's not gonna be the real Mark Mathis, not Rusty
I love
Nailz.
him too.
I got a quick one for you. Today outside it's about 75.
His favorite number.
On the air, Lauren Phinney, little Tommy, Rusty Nailz, and Sully. Sully. That's Rusty Nailz. Little Tommy in the green room. You're watching On the Air. Boy, what a great show. And Lauren Phinney, I am fascinated by how it starts. I'm fascinated how they get in business.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated how they end up here. And of course, I'm just a talk radio hack. I've got a paper in front of me. 9 times out of 10, nobody's seeing me. She's got to act like she knows it all. Like she doesn't look down at, like you remember when you first got to 91. Actually, you had a burrito and a San Diego Union Tribune.
That's it.
Actually, you had a Green Evening Tribune. That's how long you've been around.
It was the Union in the morning, Tribune at night. If I remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember delivering the Sentinel. I'm not sure. Tommy, did you ever have a paper out? I don't know if you can hear me there. Little Tommy's in the green room with Mark Mathis. Do you ever have a paper out, Tommy?
Yes, I did.
Never had a paper route. Never had a paper route.
I delivered the Sentinel here in San Diego.
You
Yeah.
have a paper route?
I did.
Yeah, exactly. All right, who do we got? Tommy,
All right.
who do we got in the green room? Who's coming up next?
So-
That's enough.
Delivering the news.
So we have Frankie V. We have Frankie V coming up.
Frankie V.
We have Mark Mathis coming in right now. But before we bring in Mark Mathis, Lauren Phinney, quick thoughts about Mr. Mark Mathis, your coworker.
Yeah, we'd love to know.
For somebody that I really thought I was going to strongly dislike when I first got there, I have come to love Mark Mathis. He's one of the greatest people, biggest hearts, and Mark, you're my favorite weatherman.
Wow, let's bring him in.
Oh my
go,
goodness.
Mr.
Is that
Mathis.
not nice?
Mr. Mathis, let's go.
Oh man.
There he is,
Get on
Mark
over there.
Mathis.
Mathis charging down the hall.
Hey, how are you?
The first time I heard his voice, I couldn't stop doing it. The closer he gets, the more I evolve into him.
Oh, there he is. Right there.
Exciting! Wow, where's the studio audience?
You're
Oh
it.
man!
We have one.
Holy cow!
Do you
Big
get
time.
recognized on the street every day?
No, not at all.
Yes, you do.
Nobody ever recognized.
Not with that hat. And a Fender. Are you a guitar player too?
No, I just
Okay.
thought it was
Just
a
like the
cool-looking shirt.
Stop the shirt.
Right now, he doesn't look like Mark Mathis, but when he puts on a suit,
Suit and the tie, and
Then
you know
it's
the
Mark
whole
Mathis.
pocket
Yeah.
square.
You know,
By the way, he's become. I have made his career. You know, he was nothing before I got here.
That's right.
Now, holy cow!
Look at me, my own show.
so wait a minute.
Mark,
so
Sully, Tommy.
when Mark Mathis first came to San Diego, Rusty, you were quick to impersonate this guy, but you were brilliant. Like how did you how did it happen? How did you say, hey, wait,
Yeah.
I want to do that?
I was in another room. TV was on KUSI, and I hear,
Hey, tomorrow it's going to be 75.
I'm like, who the heck is that? I go in and I see Mark,
And I start kind of picking up on his, got a little shoulder wiggle going there. And then the 10 o'clock news. And puts his hand in his pocket. And sometimes he'll point with 2 fingers, one over here, and then 2 of them start going. He talks about monsoonal moisture coming in from all over his body.
And let me tell you something. Whenever this happened, whenever he started impersonating me, everybody in San Diego started impersonating Rusty impersonating me.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who's a weather producer up in Los Angeles for Dallas Rains. He used to be my weather producer in Dallas. And he impersonates me almost as good as he does. And I want to get them both together.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
You gotta mix it. High pressure dominating.
That's right.
And onshore
Monsoonal
flow.
moisture and a little bit, and it helps if you do this. And like
on
a
some
little,
glasses.
little wide eye, and you go
Put
like
the
this.
hair back. Where's that?
Mark Mathis is the greatest gift to you.
he really is.
I really did make your career.
I was at the end of my career.
You really? It never really started. But anyway, I was the gift that just keeps on giving.
Surely, kind of like a social disease. All right.
As we say, Russ was big in the 80s. Now he's big in the 80s.
You were great. You were great.
So where did you start out at? Where's your first job?
Myrtle Beach, and then I worked in Charlotte. Then I went to Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, San Diego. This is my second time here. I worked over at the Fox affiliate. Did
Always
Yeah.
TV. Always TV.
Always TV.
Always weather?
I did morning shows, those long, entertaining morning shows. I did night shows. I did a poor man's version of The Daily Show. I did stand-up comedy for years.
You did?
I mean, I wasn't any good. I had a show, but we had on the feature guys and the headliners.
But how did you become Mark Mathis? Like, how did you become this? Like, were you?
That's a great question because when you first came to town, I Googled you, and there's lots of stuff on YouTube of you.
Oh, yes.
Well,
It's
I had
fantastic.
worked in very severe weather markets for years, and they called me in Charlotte, and they said, hey, we want you to come out here and be our chief meteorologist. And I was like, oh, man. I mean, when you cover hurricanes, after about 10 of them,
Right.
you're done.
And chief meteorologist means you took some sort of test, or what happened here? How
It
did
was
you-
an online course.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
No, I went to-
Matchbook meteorologist.
That's the difference.
I went to Baylor, and after I got to Baylor, I went to Mississippi State and got my meteorology degree. It was a 4-year deal and all that.
Oh, I saw
But-
on your resume, Texas Baylor, and I thought, what does he make, hay bundles?
It's a Baylor.
In Dallas? I don't know what he's doing. It's
Very famous
college,
school in
that's it,
Texas.
yeah.
Before RG3, there was MM2. Anyway,
Hey, but weren't you like a star athlete? Someone told me you were like a
Quarterback.
standout.
quarterback, yeah.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Really? Like,
Until I hurt my knee, and then my career was over.
but like what?
Tommy
high
said,
school?
really?
Everybody does that. Everybody's like, you were a quarterback. Yeah, I was really good.
Were you like a high school quarterback? Were you a college quarterback?
Both.
Really?
Yes.
And you were.
I was good up until I hurt my knee, and then it was done. I was a running quarterback.
Yeah.
So as soon as I tore up my knee, my career basically was over.
All the stuff we see online, too, from the past.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you're working. No, funny
The
stuff.
way that happened was, they said, come out and be a chief meteorologist. I was done covering a hurricane. They didn't want to do it anymore, so I said no. And he said, you can have a little bit of fun. So he comes in one day, the general manager of the television station,
Right.
small Fox affiliate in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is actually a larger market than San Diego now.
Sure.
But he brought in this traffic barrel. And he said, see what you can do with that.
Okay.
What's a traffic barrel?
Like one of those big
Orange, like a-
orange barrels that you see
a
on the...
fat orange
Oh, a
cone.
traffic barrel. Like
Yeah. And he put it in the studio. So I danced around this traffic barrel, making
that
up some
like the
song.
ones filled with water at the end of the
Pretty
thing.
much. This must have been empty, but the
And-
locals loved it because they're such wacky people there.
Well, Charlotte's a very buttoned-up city,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's a banking town. And so the next day, I go out on the street, and everybody knew Fox, and everybody knew my name.
Yeah.
Now, some people hated me, but they watched.
Yeah.
And
And then you got that costume endorsement from the place down the street, right? There's lots of stuff on YouTube.
Well, I would
a
ask the
duck
producer
outfit.
what the story was right before weather, and
Yeah.
then I would come up with some idea on what to do for the weather. Now, the reason it worked is because it was surrounded in normalcy. You know, you have normal
Well, that's
news,
just
normal
it.
sports, and then
Yeah.
you had this
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes of this nut job, and people every night was, I can handle 2 minutes. I
That's
can't
right.
handle 30 minutes of it.
And we're out of time. Thanks for coming.
So wait a minute. I have a question. I have a question about that. When you say those 2 minutes, and you're always on. When I watch KUSI and I see you do weather,
Yeah.
right when they say Mark Mathis, boom, you're on. Off to the races. Do you ever not want to do that? Do you ever like say, you know what, I'm not in the mood. Here's
75, 74.
Like,
You know,
you're
yeah.
always on. I've
can
never
tell.
seen you know, with a low voice just going, you know.
I think there's been a lot of times that I have like brought it down, but maybe it's not bringing it down to the level that you think that I'm not on. Because there's many nights that I go on and I think, you just didn't have
That's
it tonight.
that is a
missed
great.
it
That's a
today.
good point because this happens to all of us on here. I mean, how many times have Russ is like, I paid that.
Yeah.
We're back on the air.
We came back a little early.
No, but I mean, you have to pull it together because regardless, that's your brand equity. Is you're that guy, correct?
Yeah, and you know, there's been many a nights that I walked off thinking, if I do it like that again,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a
Right.
gig the next day.
Yeah.
But then I would come back the next day, hey, great show last night.
Yeah.
And you know,
You know,
I think
no-
you're your own worst critic.
And you
know.
figure it out, too, especially when I'm watching you. I can tell up day, down day, because
75.
you know, I know he's not having a good day. Man, Mark's in a good mood. That's good.
Mark Mathis.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
March Madness, that's Mark.
Great show. I like you guys.
You guys, you're coming back for sure. Mark's gonna come back in a second.
Yeah, because you owe us $20 for all the coffee.
All right, coming up, Frankie Vizzle from Channel 933 is going to
Very
join
nice
us.
guy.
And then later in the program, we're going to have Best of San Diego with Lauren and Mark and Frankie Vizzle and Rusty and Tommy and myself. It is on the air. Stand by because it's only going to get better.
Better.
Give it
No.
Yeah.
That's it.
The friends we all need that we don't have.
Come on, Lauren. Act like you're playing drums. Act like you're playing drums.
Yes.
That was perfect. Hey, we're on the air. I'm Sully. Little Tommy's in the green room. Rusty Nailz right here. Great to have you, boy. Mark Mathis. Talk about a ball of energy
I'm telling you. It takes like 2 hours
to come down
to wind down from a Mark Mathis high.
off of Mark Mathis. There you
Mark
go.
Mathis, not March Madness. It's Mark Mathis.
Frankie Vizzle, one of my favorite guys in the whole world. Frankie V, as you know him on Channel 933, a radio icon. Frankie and Gina, originally when I first heard them, now it's Gina Latina and Frankie
What?
Vizzle
Same
on
Gina,
Channel
though?
933. Yeah, same
okay.
933. Tommy, what do you got over there, big fella?
Just like you said, I'm a fan of this guy because I've known him, I've worked with him for about a year now, and this dude right here has a heart of gold, and now he's on a brand new radio station, Channel 933, with Gina, and we're gonna meet him right now. Frankie V,
What
Get
up,
him in
Tommy?
here.
follow me, let's go.
The Latina. I like that.
Let's walk him in on music that he's never going to play on his
Well, this is hit.
radio station.
This is Hop.
There he is. Oh, look at that.
Hey, don't worry.
That's cool.
Look who's here, Frankie V.
Hey, what's up, Sully?
The man.
Rusty Nailz.
How's it going?
What's going
Do,
on? How are
do
you?
they ever allow you to play music that you want? If you had like your brother have like
in
a
a band,
cool
just throw it on?
Could
No,
you ever
that's-
throw it on? Is that
no,
allowed?
no,
Would you get in trouble?
Yeah, maybe.
Is it like big trouble?
Nah, you know, we could try to find out. Why? Trying
yeah.
to sell your music right now?
What if you just
I just never had the opportunity to talk to some guy on the radio actually
some horns.
because you guys are a music station.
Yeah,
I never
for sure.
thought about that.
So what station are you at now? What show are you on now?
So Channel 933, which I was on from 2006 to 2016 or so. Went back to Boston for a year, came back. Jam 95.7, I was on there for a few years, and now as of last month, back on Channel 933, Gina Latina and Frankie V morning show, 6 a.m. till 10 a.m.
Wasn't that true? She was a partner before, though, right?
Yeah, so
Do I
Gina and I-
remember that correctly?
Gina and I worked together from 2010 to 2016 in the mornings, and then I up and left to go back to Boston to do some family stuff and get a morning show there as well.
That must have been fun. What do you like better, East or West?
Well, it's crazy because Boston is where my family is, so it's really cool, but
Yeah.
the weather sucked. So like when you get up for a morning show at 3:30 and you have to scrape ice off your car,
Forget
Yeah.
Forget about it.
forget about it. I'm a lot better getting up and it's 7 degrees outside and we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what's interesting is if you think in terms of your radio audience, because I know this, I think we all know this, is that our radio audience, you're surprised what they know about you. After being on
Yeah.
the air for a while, it's like, God, how did you know that? And at some point, you let it out.
For sure.
Yeah.
So on television here,
Yeah.
since this is a relatively new show, it's radio for television, what, and maybe some of your audience isn't listening now, what don't they know about you?
What don't they know
Is there
about
any?
Show us that tattoo
Yeah,
that no one's really supposed to see.
I mean, do they know that you're? Do they know that you're such an animal in the gym? Do they know all that
They
stuff?
know, I talk about that all the time. You know something they don't know is I have a sister that's a cop. I've mentioned it before, she's a cop in Florida, Fort Myers. And it's funny because my brother and I both do radio, so we're two radio knuckleheads. Then I have a sister that's a detective in the police
Oh,
force.
that's killer.
And she would actually arrest me if she had the opportunity to.
It's good to secure those family bonds before you get too old.
I know.
100%.
I know one thing that people that this audience may not know about you.
What's that?
That you have a lot in common with this man over here.
Rusty Nailz.
Rusty
a
Nailz,
legend.
who
both
headlines at
legends?
Planet Hollywood and
Oh, there we go.
Comedy Palace.
Stand-up
You're a
live.
stand-up guy.
You know, I started dabbling in it. I took comedy classes about 6 years ago or so, and I didn't think much of it. I'd use it more for the morning show storytelling.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you fast forward, I did one show, it was fun, and I didn't think about doing it again. And last July, I got a text message from Bijan, who you know, does a lot of stuff at the Comedy Palace, and
Funny guy.
he asked me if I'd be down to do a 7-minute set, and I'm like, oh, why not? I had a few drinks in me at the time, so I'm like, yeah, perfect, I can do this.
Get up there.
And then I was like, man, I really said yes. And then it turned into a couple more. I got the headline, and I've been doing it about once a month now. For,
I
for
can't
the
wait.
past
I'd
6
love to
months
do a
year.
show with you sometime. That'd
For
be
sure.
fun.
Yeah, there's some
people
great
laugh?
footage of him up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people do laugh. It's funny. There I am up there. But it's funny, and you guys have all done radio
Look
as
at
well.
that.
that you don't know if the reaction, you see it in front of you. So on the radio, I might think I'm funny,
Right.
and I don't care if nobody's laughing in their car.
Till the ratings come out.
Yeah, exactly. But this is instantaneous. It's like, that joke was terrible. Don't ever do it again.
Right.
But it's also a fun way to work in your feet, because if it does suck, you have to find ways to transition.
Right? That's half the fun.
It is, and that's actually taught me a lot on the radio too.
That's half the fun.
I could not even
Crickets.
imagine.
It's like, yeah.
So now what? Like, what do you do when you're on stage and you're saying some jokes and nobody's laughing? How do you adjust?
Wow, there's so many ways. It's all with each personality. Yeah, there they are. It's, some guys, I'll pick up my guitar, play or something, or completely switch gears, or hit the nail harder and just get mad at them and you walk off.
I've seen you, but you like that though. You almost enjoy it when you're stuck in that position.
Well, because as you know, it's the direction they want you to go
For sure.
in a weird way. You do something blue and they're like, no. So you got a cleaner, whatever type audience, you got to steer away from that stuff. And you already dug a hole by talking about whatever that was, or in that type of way, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
When you get on stage there for stand-up, in the very beginning, were there times like that, like one joke dud, two joke dud, three joke, like, what am I doing up here moment?
Kind of, yeah. It's funny, and Rusty can attest to it. Like, you get up there and you think that it's going to be funny because you say it in the bathroom and you're laughing at yourself in the mirror.
Always.
And my one friend, I said it to laughs and it doesn't. But then you learn how to adjust and get out of it. And I've learned that self-deprecation is the best.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck and you just make fun about yourself or something like that, and I have a few different things about myself that I can just throw out there and it's going to get a laugh. And you can
Like what?
transition it.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like the fact that I shave my whole body. I'm very hairy, and there's a million jokes. I can
That's
make
hard to
from
do,
that.
man. That is
Right.
hard to do.
And you find those things, and it's just like if you catch them off guard, they loosen up a little bit, and then you move forward. But it's
Russ's
fun.
gang name is Shaves His Back.
Yes.
That's,
That's what I heard.
street
I
name.
think waxes his back.
Back wax.
Do you enjoy morning radio versus stand-up?
It's funny. Morning radio is what I do, and I love it. It's fun working them together. And like I said, using the comedy has helped me grow in my storytelling. But I love morning radio, man. It's like I'm so fortunate that every morning to just wake up and know that people are stuck in traffic and going to a job they may not love, and we have the opportunity to put a smile on their face, man. It's like adrenaline rush every morning. The alarm clock goes off at 3:30, and I can't wait to get out of bed and jump in that studio.
So what do you think about radio today? I know a lot of people probably ask you, hey, what's going on with radio? What do you think about radio today?
No, honestly, I love radio today. It changes. Like, everything's changing. I was just talking with Lauren back there and Chris. It's like things change and you adjust with change, be it radio. My mom's a school teacher. Classrooms change all the time. I do love it. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us in a 360-degree way now. You get your online stuff.
Right.
You have your social media.
yeah.
On the streets is important now. Back in the day, you'd hide behind a microphone. Now you got to get out there and host the events and really touch the local audience and shake those hands. So it's changed, but I like it and I'm having fun with it.
But you and I have talked about that off the air before.
Yeah,
In fact,
I love it.
He hates that.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what it is. I
starts
get
sweating and
self-conscious
shaking.
about it. I'm not good at it.
I invite him to every gig I can.
And I'm like,
'cause I know
I'd stand in the corner. It's so funny because I was talking to Frankie V the other day, and I asked Siri to call Frankie V, and one of the best was Siri, call Frankie V.
It sounds like talking with someone might help.
Yeah. So first thing I get. Second thing is I go call Frankie V. She goes, calling Frankie the Fifth.
Frankie the Fifth.
So so for you, I have to ask because this morning thing that you love going out there, and you talked about building your brand. That's how you build your brand. It's not just talking on the radio every day. You're going out there and pressing the flesh and kissing babies, so to speak, almost like a politician.
It is 100%, and I love that. It's fun to get out there and shake those hands, and I'll tell you, it's cool to make those bonds as well. And you take a picture with a listener now, and you can instantaneously put it on your Instagram and tag them, and they love it. And then you repost it, and you build a real audience.
Yeah.
So to answer your question in long form, I love where radio is. I know it's changed, and I know there's a lot of people that can say it's a dying. I say not at all. And if you look at the amount of people now that are in this world, there's more traffic now than ever. There's more people stuck in their car on their way to work every day. But you're right. There's going to be different things that they can turn to and different ways of
So
getting
more
there.
houses in San Diego would be good for you.
Keep coming. More people, the better. Hundreds of market.
So who's on the Channel 933 show right now?
So right now, of course, Gina and I are co-hosting. Producer Chris is our lead producer. Then we have phone screener Jess, who does a lot of the back end
Nicest
work. And together, we're just one big family out there. And
Hey, stay right here.
It's a family.
We're going to do Best
Right.
of San Diego. Speaking of social media, you can find us at On The Air SD on both Instagram and Facebook.
I've got my votes. Best DJ,
Best weatherman, best morning.
Lauren
news.
Phinney, Mark Mathis, Frankie Vizzle, Russ T, Tommy, myself coming back. We're going to do Best of San Diego. I got a couple of questions for you there. On the air. Stand by.
You got to learn to give and take. There's so much love that we can make. And even though we might be having a few doubts, let's take the time and try to work things out.
Wow, look at this. Look at this confab on the set. On the air, Sully, Little Tommy, Rusty Nailz, Mark Mathis.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Lauren Phinney, Frankie Vizzle. You can follow us on Twitter. No, you can't. You can follow us on Instagram.
You could.
On the air SD.
We don't want Twitter.
Or Facebook. Actually, Mary, our digital media person, can probably make us a Twitter thing that says on the air SD.
Yes. Magic.
Big Mary.
But isn't this cool? Look at this. We
Yes.
got Frankie V, we got Lauren Phinney, we got Sully, we got Rusty, and Mr. Mark Mathis. This is a San Diego show.
It really
That's
is.
what I love about this.
It's the best of San Diego. It's like the axis of awesome right here.
There we go.
Yes.
Now we're the same level.
Okay, so Mark, where were you from again? Where were you born?
Baylor.
Born and raised
Austin,
Texas. Russ is a native San Diegan, as I am, as Tommy is.
Chula Vista.
Lauren's in the Valley, Ventura County. Frankie Vizzle, I'm going to say Boston.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Outside of Boston.
Okay, okay.
Great guess, Sully.
So here's my question, because he just told me.
He's a whiz.
Everything with an AA.
Nothing gets past.
He's a whiz over there behind the mic.
So I get asked this all the time from people that are coming in from out of town.
Wear that white hat?
Where should I go? where should I go when we come to San Diego? So where would be the first, if you had a friend that's never been to San Diego, and Mark, I'll go with you first. The first place you would take an out-of-towner, best place in San Diego, first time ever, where would you take?
Coronado.
Really?
Yeah. The hotel down because it's famous, and then we would go by the gas lamp.
And then what would happen there, Mark?
And then 2 days later, we'd show up in Vista.
I mean, there's so many. There's so many places I would like to go, like OB, and you go to La Jolla, and
Sure.
you go to George's, and you go up to.
Well, depends who the
Pacifica.
relative is, too.
Right, but
But like
a
a
lot of
mother-in-law, I'm going to Sunset Cliffs. And oops, sorry. Oh, good view, though. It was a good view, wasn't it?
Now, if it was a girl that I wanted to date, I'd take her up to La Jolla. I'd take her up to Del Mar.
I think the Marine Room would be a good place to go.
Marine
on
room?
first date.
Or
No, I'm
even
not talking
Tijuana.
first dates. That's all. I'm talking about
Well,
the
we're
first.
sidetracked.
Hey, leave us alone.
You guys
Beat
be
you
over
up.
there.
There's two of us over here.
Frankie, where would you, out of town, or you have out of town, your family comes in, what's the first place you would take somebody?
You know, things have changed time-wise, but I think when an East Coast friend comes to town and take them to Little Italy,
Yeah.
Little Italy is definitely cracking now, and it reminds me a bit of the East Coast. The restaurant Barbusa, I love going there.
I love that place.
Such a good spot. So I think that's where we start, and then from there, I'd have to take them to something by the beach because that's something that you don't get on the East Coast
Yeah,
with
true.
the
Yeah.
nice weather. And I would say,
Not in January.
not January exactly. Probably go down to PB to the Crystal Pier.
Yeah.
Get that view. Walk them out on that. Let them see all of San Diego from
Yeah.
there. And then from there, I mean, it depends on how much you've had to drink or eat, and if you want to go to bed, or just keep on going.
And you end up in Vista 2 days.
Or Tijuana.
Lauren, what about
I
you?
feel like I'm the only nerd. In
No,
the group,
okay, let me
but-
tell y'all something about Lauren.
Please
She
do.
talked about me earlier.
Yeah.
She's got a dark side to her. I love the girl to death. But this porcelain Lauren.
It's not true. I don't know what
So,
you're
Lauren, where
talking
would you
about.
take somebody?
In Vista 2 days later. I would take them to the Midway.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
aligned
that's
with
good.
everybody else in San Diego.
That's
It's the
fantastic.
number one tourist. People love seeing the Midway. I would take them there, and then I would take them to the La Jolla Sea Caves and
Wow.
do the steps.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
would
Oh, yeah,
love
sure.
that.
Would you jump off the clam with them? Have you ever jumped off the clam?
No, I've not jumped off the clam.
Didn't the clam break?
No.
Have you ever jumped off the clam?
I would like to see this show go on the road and,
And
watch
jump off the clam.
the dueling Mathises off the clam.
I would
Here we go.
totally jump off the
I
clam.
think it's
You know how
highly
many feet it
illegal.
is?
It's 75.
Now, do you land in the clam or?
No, the clams, it looks like a clamshell at the top. If you were to sit in, I'm going to say Eddie V's
Okay.
and look, if you're staring at the window of Eddie V's, if you're familiar,
Yeah.
and you look about 1 o'clock and down, that little piece of dirt right there where the
Yeah.
shell shop is the clam. And we were little kids when we used to surf. we'd jump off the clam, and it would be like one of those things, hey, jump off the clam.
Yeah.
I think it's 10-yard jump. It's not that big a deal.
I don't think I've ever done that.
I haven't done it either. Have you?
Tommy, where would you take somebody? Have you done this before?
All of a sudden, there's a resurgence of people jumping off the clam.
Clam death fries.
I wish you would have asked me first because I would
Did
have.
you just say clam death ride?
Think of the headlines for Lauren. And,
Oh my gosh.
My answer is the same as Mark Mathis because I grew up at the Hotel Del. My dad.
So people watching at Hotel
Yeah, my
Del.
dad used to work there in the '60s, so I would have taken him to Hotel Del as well.
I will tell you. Go ahead, Vista. Vista. Okay.
2 days later, I'm in Vista.
I joined
There's this time of the day, any day of the week when it's clear out, and if you go up a street called Via Capri on Mount Soledad.
Okay.
So if you're taking Torrey Pines Road off of the 5 freeway or 52 freeway and take a left on Via Capri, head up to high atop Mount Soledad, go through the neighborhood there. If you get to the top of Mount Soledad there, and on the way up, you can see stuff in San Diego born and raised here, stuff I've never even seen before.
Yeah.
I'm talking Tijuana, all the way out to East County, all the way up. You can see past the San Onofre, easy Russ.
Okay.
Up there, you could recognize the San Onofre. But I think it's I think it's spectacular. I know there's a view like that in all of San Diego. And then after that, I'd be in Vista 2 days later.
There you go. We've summed it up.
All right. There's this. I just have this question. I'll geek out on business. There's 165 craft breweries in San Diego. It is the economic impact equal to a Super Bowl every year. $700 million in direct spending because
Enough about
of
my
it.
bar tab.
So I just have a quick question for you, Mathis. Mexican food or craft beer?
Mexican food.
Frankie?
Put them together. Mexican food. With
That's what I'm saying. Cervezas and tacos, sí.
Should I even ask
de
you?
Latina.
Where's your favorite Mexican food?
It is. It's actually one right close to my house. It's just a little hole in the wall, open 24 hours.
Vista Mexican. Right.
Right there on Rancho Mission Road.
Okay.
And I absolutely love it.
All right.
And I don't know if any of the stuff in there is actual food, but
Doesn't
it is
matter,
so
right?
good.
Down and dirty, good like food like that is so, like in those places. Frankie, what's the name of your place? What's your?
I like to go to Cafe Coyote.
Okay,
Cafe
yeah.
Coyote in Old Town.
Town.
That's another place. If you have somebody in town, you got to take them to because it's just a good
right.
vibe.
Right.
Oh, you go. No, it's Las Cuatro Milpas.
Oh yeah, that's
Have
right.
you been to this place?
That's right.
It's under the Coronado Bridge.
Yeah.
Watch out when you
Cuatro
get out of your car.
Milpas is
But it's
insane.
good food.
Yeah. You okay, Lauren? You just don't like the way
Under the Coronado
Still
Bridge.
And what is your favorite craft beer in San Diego?
Craft beer.
Uh-oh.
I would go with Ballast Point.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. They have that one in Little Italy. That's where I live, so I stop on down there. But I'm a big fan of the Ballast Point. There's also there's like ones that you've never heard of or seen. And you just stumble into them.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you,
San
Like
Diego.
2 bar stools and 1 tap is so good. It's like,
It's your garage, Rusty.
Belching Beaver. Have you guys?
Yeah,
tried
oh sure,
Belching
really,
Beaver?
yes,
I
and
love
fantastic
Belching
food
Beaver.
by the way.
turned me on to
and
that.
fantastic food by the way. Mike Hess Brewery, unbelievable. AleSmith, Peter Zion, the CEO.
Oh,
there.
that's
if you've not been to AleSmith up in Mira Mesa, it is the most beautiful place ever.
Yeah.
And now Mike Hess has got a really great place down in Imperial Beach. It's 2 of the best places. Mexican food or craft beer?
Mexican food.
By far, is there
By far.
is there a spot?
Not a question. I'm not a big beer drinker. So.
Is there a spot?
No, we can tell.
No, I
She's not kidding.
joking. Is there a spot? Can I tell you like one of my favorite? You're gonna laugh. 'Cause
Yes.
It doesn't really qualify as like Mexican, but
Taco
Italian.
Bell.
I love them. I have a hole in the wall too that I'm ashamed I don't know the name of in Vista that I like. 'Cause I live in North County, but I like Rubio's.
What's wrong with Rubio's? Ralph Rubio, San Diegan.
That's right.
Publicly
I know, but
traded
it's not
company.
Like the traditional Mexican.
There's
I
nothing
love
to
Rubio's.
Question,
Yes,
since you're such a financial guy, I lived in Austin when the craft brewery hit Austin, and it was a huge wave, and it was there for about 3 or 4 years, and everybody said it's going to become the next craft brewery town in the world, but it ran its course.
Yeah.
It ended, and now it's kind of gone to different cities, us being one of them.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to run its course, or do we have a lock on it?
No, there's too much economic impact going on here, number one. And number two, the craft beer industry in San Diego works together. You'd think that they were all in competition, and they are in competition, of course, for market share. But when you talk to these CEOs, they know the other guy, and they help the little guy go up. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy here in San Diego. Every time there's a guy, now look, it's got to be you got to get a product, right?
Yeah, that
you got to
helps.
be able to have something good. But I'll tell you, It is an experience. You could do a craft beer day in San Diego.
Okay.
They should have a craft
I'll cover that. I'll cover that for the show.
Which, by the way, culminates in Vista 2 days later.
I used to cover beer and food pairings with Karl Strauss.
Oh, yeah, remember? Yeah, Karl Strauss from
Strauss Brewery. But he is so good with his accent, and he talk about the
Karl
schnitzel
Strauss was the original. Yeah, Chris Kramer. Chris Kramer from Point Loma High School started as Karl Strauss with his uncle Carl, who was the brewmeister of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
He was born at Pabst Blue Ribbon upstairs.
That's exactly
he
right.
was.
Tommy, Mexican food or craft beer?
Mexican. Lolita's Taco Shop
Oh,
in
yeah.
Chula Vista.
That's it. That's the one. Wow. Yes. That's it. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I'll tell you, it has
Found
been
the
one.
coffee pot, did you? Okay.
Well, you guys, fantastic stuff. Yeah, what's it? Yeah, is it a carne asada burrito? Is that like the standard?
Yes, absolutely.
I got to go with Hooley's.
Wait a minute, that's
Taco Tuesday.
That's an Irish
corned
bar.
beef tacos. I swear you've never had a Hooley's corned beef taco. She's making a face, but we're going there.
Mark Mathis, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lauren Phinney, Rusty Nailz, Little Tommy Sully, Christianik is our director, Jared Coleman, our assistant director, Curtis Matovich, our floor director, our floor cameraman, our composer, our editor, our keeper of keys, and from whom all blessings flow. Follow us everywhere at On The Air SV. We'll see you next time.
That's all right. That's all right.